Get going here. It's about 5:30. Thanks everyone for coming tonight. My name is Jessica Becker. If you don't know who I am, I'm the executive director here at the Nicollet County Historical Society. I have a cold, so I'm going to turn this mostly over to your president, Kate Martins, and she is going to run the meeting, and I'm going to let her. So this is going to be fun.
Are y'all ready? Because I'm not.
Down is forward now.
Down is forward.
Down is forward now.
Okay, all right. I'd like to thank you all for being here. This is a good crowd. We still have photos. But at any rate, can you hear me? This is that teacher voice that I just got. All right, so at 5:30 on April 7th, I'd like to call the annual meeting at the Nicollet County Historical Society into order. And the first action we need to do is to approve, first I gotta say welcome. I have to say thank you to all of the people in this audience, and you can't tell who they are yet, you will in a moment. I need to have our important staff and board members and volunteers stand. Okay, so first off, let's start with the Nicollet County Historical Society Board. Could all of the members please stand up, and I would let you applaud them. These people have worked very hard. All right, now we have the staff of the Nicollet County Historical Society, and if you guys could please stand. And if you would. You're all going to be appreciated later on, as you know that. And then I'd like all of the people who have volunteered here over the last couple of years to stand, please. All right, that is the way that this organization runs, and I do want to call your attention to our mission, which is that NCHS gathers, preserves, and shares the varied history of the people, places, and events that have shaped Nicollet County. And our vision statement is to be a community asset and leader, engaging and educating the public and fostering appreciation of Nicollet County history. So these are the people who have done that with your help as members here in the last year for sure. Okay, now onto the agenda here. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Now, I gotta do this. You're gonna do this.
Do you want me to do it?
No, okay. First off, because of the fact that I follow the rules very easily, I want you to please make sure that your phones are silent because we are recording this and we don't need to know who's getting calls. And then raise your hand and I will acknowledge you. And then when you're making a motion or a second, could you stand and please state your name because our secretary is taking minutes here, okay? All right, so the agenda here is listed, and I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Could you state your name?
Kathy Chamberlain.
Okay, and do I hear a second?
Alma, second.
Alma, second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. And the motion is carried. Thank you very much. And now I'm going to turn it over to Scott, our secretary, and he's going to do the secretary's report, which you can find the minutes right here. Okay?
The Nicollet County Historical Society annual meeting was called to order at 5:30 by President Kate Martins. The agenda was approved. Secretary's report, NCHS Secretary Dana Melius read the minutes from the 2023 annual meeting, which were approved. Treasurer's report, NCHS Treasurer Denny Schmidt presented the Treasurer's report and a snapshot of the NCHS 2023 revenues and expenditures. Total revenues were $224,529, with expenditures of $232,630 for an unaudited and preliminary shortfall of $8,101. The NCHS total assets were $1,670,741, and while it's been an up and down year in the investment field, the NCHS's current portfolio improved over the year by $10,744 to $100,374. The 2020 tax returns will be completed later in the year and final adjustments will be made at that time. The treasurer's report was approved. Executive Director Jessica Becker and President Kate Martins presented a year in review report. For the year, an estimated 2,900 individuals attended the museum, including 707 field trips and tours. Several exhibits during the year were popular, including the Farm Bureau-sponsored exhibit. A total of 85 donations of artifacts, documents, photos, and family histories were gifted. Facility issues remain an issue, with roofing repairs needed at the Treaty Site History Center building and the ongoing maintenance needs at the Cox House, where expenses outpace revenues. The Cox House position has been eliminated, with self-guided tours now being offered. Jessica and Kate mentioned membership should continue opportunities for the NCHS 100th anniversary in 2028 and increase development and fundraising efforts. Challenges include increasing cost of operation, the Cox House, and aging museum facility. Elections. Stacy Schwartz of North Mankato was elected as the new director. John Smithers was elected to a second term. The slate of officers was Kate Martins, president, Tammy Skinner, vice president, Scott Hermanson, secretary, and Danny Schmidt, treasurer. The annual meeting portion of the afternoon was adjourned at 6:01 p.m. A special guest speaker followed the annual meeting was Rachel Hannell, who gave a great presentation on the Camilla Hall story and provided local information on the Hall family with details from a book, Not the Camilla We Knew. The Camilla Hall exhibit was also available for members to see prior to and after the annual meeting.
Thank you, Scott. If you're wondering about this, we're videotaping this and we're supposed to be passing this around so that we can make sure that those who aren't here can enjoy the things that you're seeing. So that's what I'm doing here. With the, maybe we will put this side. I'm not going to do anything right now. It'll fall over. Okay, all right. So I would enter, if the secretary's report is in front of you, and I would entertain a motion to approve the secretary's report. So moved. Name? Eileen. And do I hear a second?
Bob Schubert. I used to be on the board at one time.
Well, thank you, Bob. I appreciate that. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, then I'll call for the vote. All in favor of approving the secretary's report as presented, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, then thank you. We have approved the secretary's report. Now we're going to move on to the treasurer's report. And for that, we've got the treasurer, Danny Schmidt. I do like this. There you go. There we go.
Okay, for the treasurer's report, you have 2 pages in your packet, and I will make a few comments on it here. And the good thing you can also look at is there is a comparison of 2024 to 2023, so you can be looking at that as well. We're pretty pleased with how our 2024 has ended. You will notice that our donations and the like are up by about almost $13,000. The other real, if you look at the total revenue was up by about $43,000. So that is a pretty significant increase right there. It was mentioned in the minutes that we had a roof, and actually our HVAC unit that sits up on top of the roof, we had some serious problems with that. We were very fortunate that we received a $32,520 grant from the Carl and Verna Schmidt Foundation. That money helped cover those repairs. So without that, we would have had another $32,000 of expenses. Now you're going to still see, if you look further down, our expenses were up, but that grant from the foundation helped cover that. So we are very pleased that that money came through for us. One item of concern for us is our membership. And that, I guess I'll bring it up right here and say that's a goal for all of us as members. is to try and encourage more people to become members of the Nicollet County Historical Society. So spread the word. Get more people involved and get them to be a part of the Nicollet County Historical Society. I will have you flip to the second page, just to take a look at, under current assets, we have an investment account, and you can see that in 2023, we don't have 2022 listed here, but I know 2023 was already increased. And take a look at 2024. We were up at $119,000. So that was some very good progress with that moving upward. Our expenses were actually down. However, like I said, repair and maintenance was higher. When we put a budget together, we always have to figure out what to do on utilities. The good news this past year, our utilities, our total utilities were down by about $6,900. So we had some savings there. And then our staff is doing a good job watching expenses. Overall expenses with postage, printing, and things like that were down by about $5,000. So I think all in all, we've got a very positive treasurer's report to present to you, and we as a board feel very good about where we're at this point. So that's it.
This is an upgrade from the technology that we had last year. So I just want you to know that that kind of addition to our facility has made a difference. All right, I would like to entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I so move to accept.
Alma. Do I hear a second?
Second.
John?
John Smithers.
Second. All right, is there any discussion? John?
John Chamberlain. Mark Twain once said that it is better to remain silent and be thought a fool than open one's mouth and leave no doubt. However, since I have a question for you that I should know the answer to that or not for. On the revenues of memberships, you highlighted it, 16,023, 11,024. Is that because of a reduction in numbers of members, or is that because of less giving by whatever the membership is?
It would be numbers, John, because it's, the giving is set on what the membership and what people pay in the different categories. So, and I don't have that exact number, but it has to be in number of paid members. So we have to go after, and some people, maybe they've lapsed or whatever. We have done some searching on this and taking a look. So we've got to try and get some of those people to re-up their membership, and we have to go after new members. I think that's a key thing.
And the board has continually discussed methods to encourage people to renew memberships and to, as Danny said, we find a neighbor, and each one bring one, okay? Yeah, and then we have business memberships as well.
And you do see that that's going to be an action item. We're
Yes.
making a little bit of change to that.
And you'll notice that, as Danny said, our donations and memorials and fundraising is up this past year. Is there any other discussion, any further discussion? All right, then hearing none, I would call the vote to approve the treasurer's report. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. That's carried, and now we are on to the good part of the whole business meeting. She said I was going to talk. I'm giving it back to her too. So we're going to do it. The team teaching thing.
I'm not putting up with this. I'm gonna hold this thing.
There you go.
A year in review, start the nostalgic music. We could have done music. There could have been a show.
Yeah.
Scott, you could have choreographed.
There you go.
Next year. We have goals. It's good to have goals. Thank you everyone for getting us this far. We had 3,500 folks who took part in stopping by our sites, attending the programs, checking out the exhibits, doing school tours, different group tours that came through, and all of that despite a really rainy spring and a really floody summer. So we were pretty excited for this. This is an uptick actually from last year. We did not think we were going to beat last year's numbers. We had a very slow spring, very few field trips, and field trips are kind of our bread and butter in the springtime. Not only for those attendance numbers and how we can bring people in to be educated about what we talk about in our exhibits, but also because if it's not a Nicollet County school, those are dollars that come in. We charge $3 for every student that comes in on a field trip. Normally we would have 600, 700, 800 kids that would come in. So we were pretty pleased that even though we lost some of the revenue on that, we did have a lot of folks come through, and we're appreciative of that because obviously you've been telling your friends about how amazing we are. Ruth left me some notes wherever Ruth is. I'm not sure if she's still here or not. There she is. I copied and pasted Ruth, I swear. So we had 76 new donations received in 2024. That's down just a little in number from 2023, but that's not the important part. We had a lot of really amazing things came through, and we'll take a look at those in a second. We went through a lot of different rehousing, rearranging, reorganizing things. A couple times a year we get into like a spring cleaning mode, and everything comes off shelves, and we're always trying to find better ways for folks to be able to be in our spaces, whether it's redoing some of the things we have in the archives. If you've been into the Josie Stone room over the last year and a half or so, you'll see that it's a lot easier for folks to do research in there. It's a lot more welcoming space. We're also working on ways that we can create more storage in the back room. Our storage runs just from this wall here to that wall there, and that is the museum storage. Everything else is shop space back there where we have different offices for our collections person, and we have like our HVAC and stuff is back there. So we don't have a lot of space to keep all the really cool stuff that you donate, so we're constantly rotating and trying to find ways to make that happen. We're also really excited for those of you who attended the Minnesota Historical Society event at the Capitol Room this summer. You found out that a very amazing anonymous donor came forward and sponsored a newspaper digitization project for the Nicollet County newspapers. So if you were to go to the Minnesota Historical Society's newspaper hub, you would see that a lot of the really amazing old 1800s and coming forward newspapers like the Tribune and the Courier and the Free Press are all being digitized along with the Ledger. And they're adding new ones all the time, which is really great. And we're discovering all kinds of fun stuff in these. Who knew that there was a Hustler here in town? The St. Peter Hustler. Who knew? Like 2 years. So that's really exciting. And then alongside that as well, we just found out that we received a $10,000 grant from the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund, the Legacy Amendment, to support updating our archival program that we have. We had a very outdated catalog system that is really just becoming problematic. We can't go anywhere with it. You can't access in different parts of the building. It's hard to do exhibits and catalog and have staff communicate with each other. So we're updating that. We're really excited to be doing that. We're partnering with the Minnesota Alliance of Local History Museums. Curators and archivists designed this program, and it's going to be a lot easier for us as well as the public to be able to access this through our website. And we actually have a volunteer who's been working really closely with Ruth to be able to make it so that our website is ready for this when we are ready to have it happen. So moving on just a little here, just a very small snapshot of some of the really great things that we had come in. Of note would be the GAR, the Aspen Gay Scarrow, post number 37, the GAR ribbon there goes along with our really amazing GAR collection we have. Rick Wright, I believe this is from Rick Wright's collection of 1998 tornado photos. He donated a large collection of photos that Bob and I were surprised that were very different. We see a lot of the same things. He also did what's called ghost photos as well, where he did a year later in the same spot. So some of those are really great. If you follow our Instagram page, we actually did some of that for the anniversary last weekend. Otherwise, you can get a hold of Ruth and she's happy to share those for anyone who's interested. And of course, our photo collection, we have thousands and thousands and thousands of photos. So if you're looking for something, you have a project, you can access some of the thumbnails through our website. You can also find those on the Minnesota Digital Library as well. We also had a lot of amazing programs last year that some of you attended. Of course, one of them was the annual meeting where we had Rachel Hannell talking about Camilla Hall and her life here in town. If you're still up for it, coming up here, we're going to have another history hangout. We literally sit in this room, drink coffee, eat treats, and talk about history. And it's free, and we do it every month on the third Thursday at 10 o'clock, and we talk about all kinds of stuff, so feel free to join us. We also do Shadows at the Crossing every fall. We had a great time this past year. We had a record crowd. We welcomed something like 120 some folks for tours over those 2 nights. We also did a preservation program with the State Historic Preservation Office, talking about ways that community members can become involved in saving some of the historical architecture within their downtown communities and some of the older buildings. Programs that are available for folks here in the different towns. And then we also had a film series as well, a lot of other great things. If you're not on our email list, you should be, so that we can keep you updated. And of course, you'll have a newsletter coming out here shortly as well. It'll have any upcoming programs too. It wouldn't be NCHS if we didn't talk about water. Many of you know this past summer, very few people escaped the June flooding. We had, oddly enough, we had a board meeting, an all-day retreat here on Saturday, and it was raining cats and dogs. And came back Sunday, and it was starting to flood. We were like, all right, we'll keep an eye on it. Came back Monday, and it was like, all right, sandbagging. We got to sandbag. So that was June 23rd was the Sunday, the 24th Monday, we had to sandbag. We couldn't get into the driveway without John Smithers and his big Jeep. So thanks, John, for the big Jeep, because we would not have been able to save things if it weren't for you. And we had a lot of really wonderful community members come to our help that day. We did so many sandbags, and we did it all in a very short amount of time. The city of St. Peter was wonderful as well. They did a great job just getting things to us because we didn't have dump trucks to bring in large amounts of sand and things like that. So we were closed for about 7 days. You can see that top picture. We were literally an island. There's 169, there's the parking lot. Close to the worst flooding we've seen here. Very close to what we saw about 15 years ago as well. We only lost a little bit in revenue, which was great. So we were able to kind of recover from that fairly quickly. But it did spark some conversation about some of the long-term needs for flood mitigation here. At that time, we didn't know maybe what was going to be going on with the next administration, but the flood insurance we have here can only be bought through FEMA. And so we are looking at not being able to have flood insurance here. So we need to be looking at other ways that we can mitigate some of the issues that we might have with water, either through natural landscapes or things like that. So a discussion for another day. We also had some really great exhibits. We closed out the Camilla Hall exhibit that had opened at the annual meeting. And we also sadly had to say goodbye to our farming exhibit we had with Farm Bureau. We call him Dave. It's part of the Sims uniform. So we had those, which was really great. A lot of folks came in to see the Camilla Hall exhibit specifically and hadn't been here before. So it was really wonderful to have that opportunity to show off. You're sitting in where we have the Frank Mayer exhibit right now, these sketches of Frank Mayer. So Frank Mayer was an early artist who was in the area here, and he was actually at the treaty signing as well, and he sketched some of that. And then we're still in process of working on our seasonal exhibit. We cleaned out the carriage house at the Cox House. We moved all of the buggies and sleds and sleighs down here, and we cleaned them up and gave them a good shine. And our collections assistant, Anna, has been diligently putting together textiles to go with each of the seasonal displays. You can check it out, it's in the South Room. And shortly we'll be adding some more fun things. We're adding bicycles and old roller skates and fishing things and all kinds of fun stuff like that. So we're looking forward to sharing some more with you on those exhibits. We also tried something a little different at the Cox House this past summer. Denny mentioned that, yes, we had to eliminate the staff position up there, so we had to figure out what we were going to do because we still needed the house to be open. So we tried a hybrid method of having the house open. We had one staff up there, and then we were using the senior training program through MVAC, so we had 2 people up there for self-guided tours. We rewrote the tour, had a handout for folks who went up there, but then we also took advantage of a partnership that NCHS, the Blue Earth County Historical Society, and the Mankato Area Foundation have as basically the curators and collectors of Marian Anderson's artwork. We had access to all of her traveling pieces that are part of the collection that was donated for us to do public good with. And so we took select pieces, took all the artwork downstairs at the Cox House and replaced it with Marian's artwork. So we had the ability for folks to see not only her artwork as well as the house, and we also did not charge admission. We did a free will donation with it, and we actually did very well with that. We had 157 visitors come to the house, which was spectacular. It more than quadrupled from the summer before when we were doing just tours, and they made appointments or they stopped by. And we only fell $200 short of the paid admission as well. So it's a method that's working, it's a model that's working for us, and we're going to repeat that this summer, and we're going to have, Anna and I are working on it, we're going to have a fashionable summer at the Cox House. So stay tuned for some news on that, but we're really excited for the direction that that's starting to go, that we're seeing some more engagement with it as well. Button, there we go. I'll let Kate talk about outreach since you did most of it.
Tell them about Denny. You can do that.
Denny. Denny doesn't want to talk about himself. So the outreach up here, if we're looking at this one, is Denny Schmidt and Karen Richter. They're both with Nicolet County Farm Bureau, and they're actually in this photo being interviewed by Minnesota Farm Bureau. We had intended for them to be promotional videos for the exhibit. Unfortunately, due to things like flooding, they weren't able to get down here in time to kind of make all the videography stuff happen to promote the exhibit, but they were able to use it to promote some of the outreach that Farm Bureau does within their communities, because it's not just farming, it's education, and this was a different type of activity for a county Farm Bureau program to take on, and they actually had a lot of accolades and acclaim for that, and there was talk about a national award, but I don't know, I don't think anything came of it. We could have been famous in Texas. So that was really amazing. That was a really hot day in the lobby though. Yeah, you can go.
All right, I'll go. All right, so we have finally, we think, found a good home at the Nicolet County Fair. Except for the wind. We were in a bit of a wind tunnel, but it was kind of that way. We were in the Thompson Hall, and we had the road. We had a lot of people coming through because we were kind of at the beginning of the road through the fair, and we had our historic markers information up and our kids putting the log cabin together, and we had lots of volunteers here. I just want to give a quick shout out here. Everything that you're seeing here, the board that I had stand up before has shown up for all kinds of things. All of these events, they were at the county fair. They were the board members were the ones, actually stand up, you guys, who did the bagging during the flooding. You guys stand up. Dana, John, stand up. These guys showed up and they worked really hard. And that's not a traditional board responsibility. And then for many years we've been in the education tent at the Makato Wachipi, and we have kind of come up with a fair way of representing our commemorating controversy exhibit. And we always get a lot of people who come through. There's a lot of reading, but they come and they read. And this is in the education tent, and we'll look for you next year. See, I quit teaching. They changed the... Where am I at?
I don't know.
Why is it not going?
I don't know.
There we go. All right. All right. I'm gonna she's doing a good job for being sick, isn't she? I'm gonna
We're gonna wait for the crash.
nope, this can happen. You know more about that than I do.
Yes, can I have the microphone so I don't yell?
I
Please.
know.
Thank you. I'd yell, but then that's the end of it. So a couple of shout outs here for a couple of projects that we had going on. So not only did in 2023 we had a rather large $62,000 roof repair, we had another roof repair that we had to do, and I'll talk about that one, and then this lighting project as well that we did. The $32,520 that we received from the Carlin Furnishment Foundation covered both of these projects. So this room here that's the before and after is our intro room where we welcome folks in with a quick video and they can learn about like the precursor time in this region to the treaty exhibit before they head into that space. Unfortunately, none of the lights worked. They stopped, the electricians couldn't figure out why, and we need a lift in order to reach any of the cans that are in the ceiling because the architect didn't test out any of this before the building went live. So it's difficult for us to deal with. We put a proposal together and replaced it with a new drop system of lighting that's in there. It works great for us, it's repositionable. We can do exactly what we need to do. We can dim it if we need to, if there's videos and things going on. So this was one of the projects that we had that was a little bit of a bigger one, and we're really happy with the way it turned out. And then we also had water, more water. So you're seeing the first two photos are actually in our electrical room. That was not good. What happened is that we have what's called a rooftop unit. It's a big HVAC unit, like your air conditioning furnace unit. It sits on our roof. Basically, the curb that it sits on, like a little stand, it tilted. And so it was letting water straight back into the building. And it was following the pipes down and it was making a mess in the rooms across the back of the building, which are the important ones, our collections and our electrical room. So we were fortunate, like we said, to get the grant money to cover basically redoing that curb. They straightened everything out and they made sure that we were not having any water coming in. And thank goodness that everything so far, fingers crossed, knock on wood, whatever we need to do, it's working. So thank goodness for that. And hopefully, we're done with anything other than preventative maintenance for a little bit. I'd like a year off from roof repairs, and I think James would too. I too would like to give a quick shout out to my staff and volunteers, just real quick. They do amazing things. Lynn was super brave in that photo. Thanks TJ for wrangling. TJ's here, he was the snake wrangler that day. They're amazing. There's no way we could do half of what we do without the amazing staff and volunteers here. I'm perfectly happy to keep them in coffee and donuts if they can just keep going with what they're doing, because it's amazing the things you can do with a hope, a prayer, and a shoestring around here. We did add a couple of folks, which was great. We said through that senior training program. Gary's at the front desk, Gary Coleman from over Nicollet Way. He's here in town now, but Gary's at the front desk 3 days a week, hanging out, welcoming folks. And Anna's been with collections, but she's actually now on staff here. She did such a great job. We found room in the budget, so we're expanding her duties here now as a full staff member this year. Unfortunately, we also had to say goodbye to Lynn. She moved closer to her family up in Duluth, and so we do have occasionally some volunteer projects available if anyone's looking to do something. And then Robert Weber was our custodian. He retired. We had a fun party and some treats for him. So now we're working with a local company, but we also have birthday parties if anyone's interested, as James's sign says. It was very exciting. He got clearly Canadian because we're millennials. And then we're back to the less fun stuff.
Oh,
Not that it's not fun.
this is fun, but I think that you can see why the treasurer's report and the secretary's report are so thorough and so informative, because not the board, the staff and our executive director have been working very hard on keeping this place growing and thriving in spite of any kinds of any kinds of obstacles thrown our way. All right, so the next part of the day are the action items, and these are on page 5 in your packet. Wrong way. All right, so on the proposed bylaws amendment, I'm just going to I'm going to do what I never did. I'm going to read it to you so that you know. At the annual meeting, members will vote, that's you guys, on the following amendment to the society's bylaws. It said 7 members of the board of the directors was a quorum. We've changed that to a simple majority of the board of directors shall constitute a quorum for the conduct of business at any regular or special meeting of the board of directors. If you have any questions about why we're making that change, that's listed on the screen and also on your packet. Oh, I'm sorry.
Technology around here.
Well, you know what? Like I said, it's been 6 years since I was teaching, and I've lost the skill. All right, so that's the bylaws change. We need to have a vote by the membership to approve this particular change of bylaws. All right, so if you'll take a second and take a look at it, and then I will entertain a motion to approve this particular change in the bylaws. All right.
Jenny Schmidt. I would move that we amend the bylaws by striking the words 7 members and inserting the words a simple majority.
Do I hear a second?
Tasty Schwartz, I second.
Casey, thank you. Is there any discussion? Did I do it again? No, okay. Okay. All right, hearing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor of making the proposed bylaws amendment by changing the words 7 members to a simple quorum, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same? Thank you. That proposed change will be put in our bylaws. The next action that we need you to take is the proposed changes in business membership dues. The board of directors is recommending the following changes to the business membership's dues structure, which will be voted on today. And you can see the change that the board has discussed and agreed upon. So take a look at that. The rationale is underneath why this change. And I will entertain a motion to approve this change in membership dues.
I propose,
Casey?
I approve the change in membership.
Okay, Casey makes the motion. Is there a second? John Smithers is the second. Is there any discussion?
I have a little question.
Sure.
Does this mean the benefactor and champion are going away? Is that true?
Yes,
Okay, so all the left side things are gone and the right side things
Correct.
are, okay. Just wanted to make sure.
correct. Is there any further discussion? All right, hearing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor of making the proposed membership dues change, please say, business membership dues change, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Then the motion is carried. I'll get it. Okay, now what is also on page 5 in your handout is the board of directors candidates. This slate of candidates was agreed upon by the nominating committee and presented to the board, and the board has approved this slate of directors, candidates, and officers. And they're asking for the membership to approve these. And if you'll take a look at the list in your in your list, running for a second term, well, first of all, I'm going to say, there were no applicants from the floor. Okay. Okay, running for a second term, we have Eric Annexted, Alma Forst, and Dennis Schmidt. The officers that were recommended by the board are President Dennis Schmidt, Vice President Tammy Skinner, Treasurer Alma Forst, and Secretary Scott Hermanson. Are there any nominations from the floor?
Yes, Mark Feemeyer has volunteered to serve on the board, so I'd like to nominate Mark.
Mark, could you stand? Okay, Mark is a member, so he's eligible. Okay, so we would add Mark Feemeyer to the roster. Are there any further nominations from the floor? Any further nominations from the floor? All right, then I will call for a vote on the Board of Directors slate that is in front of you. All in favor? Wait, did I get a motion? I need a motion, sorry. I need a motion to approve the Board of Directors, including Mark. Do I have such a motion? Denny?
I would so move we accept the board of directors as listed.
With Mark's addition. Okay, is there a second? Bob seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote on the Board of Directors candidates. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, Mark. Okay, all right. So that concludes our action items. I do want just quickly to reiterate what you've already heard a couple of times here, and that is membership and people who participate on the board and people who volunteer. You look around you, you are not our entire membership, but this county has a lot of people, and we are doing everything we can to encourage them to come to see us, to talk to board members, to talk to the staff, and to come work with us and become members. And we've done all kinds of wonderful things. We've done little cards where you can just hit the code here, and it'll take you right to the membership and the information. And I know that there are one or two of you in this group today who have not been in this museum for a little while. And it's pretty amazing, it's pretty good, so that's why we had you walk back through the museum, and that's what we're going to do in a few minutes, just so that you know what you're advocating. This is a treasure in Nicollet County, and it's not recognized enough. So everybody, tell a neighbor, tell a relative, do what you can. Businesses. We have very few business members, so if you have any connections with businesses, this is a perfect time for them to try their membership as well. Okay? At this point, that completes our action items. I'll go back to the agenda. I did it. I got it. Okay? And I am going to, Denny and I talked about it. He thinks I can close out this meeting. I don't know if it's legal or not, but we're just going to do this. I'm just going to close this meeting. It's been wonderful working with you all, especially the board. I don't need a motion. Thanks, Eileen. I'm going to...
I just wanted to thank you for being a fabulous.
Two things. For those of you who don't know, I'm not being fired. I've turned out. Okay? I have to step down. And the second thing is I'm not going anywhere. You'll still see me for tours and all of that kind of thing, and whenever I can volunteer. Okay, I will thank. Oh, yeah, John and Dana. John, stand up, you two. Dana, please stand. And John. These are also board members whose terms have expired and who will be leaving us and who have been incredibly helpful, and I'm quite sure will continue to be so to the Nicollet County Historical Society. Thank you very much. Okay, I will adjourn this meeting. I'm going to send you back through the museum. Now that you kind of know what you're looking at a little bit better, go back, get a cup of coffee, some lemonade, a treat, and then we'll come back for our program in just, what, 5-10 minutes.
Thanks, everybody. We appreciate everything you did for us tonight. We're going to take about a 10-minute break real quick. Restrooms, food, bars, we have lots of it. If you've got questions about membership or anything, James and Tammy will be at the front desk if you can race them that way. Otherwise, we'll see you back here in a few minutes. Thank you.